Most law firm owners are either overthinking YouTube or completely avoiding it. The YouTube Accelerator in Chicago is going to fix that. This 2-day event on June 11th and 12th is built specifically for law firm owners who are ready to take YouTube seriously. You'll hear directly from guest experts like Jeff Hampton and Ryan Weber, and we're covering the full YouTube growth stack. Niche and content pillars, topic ideation and messaging, hooks and intros, thumbnails and titles, recording strategy, editing, channel positioning, and the growth systems that actually drive results. You'll walk away with a real plan you can execute. Get the full event details and grab your seat at maxlawevents.com.
This is Maximum Lawyer with your host, Tyson Mutrux.
Welcome back to the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. Today we're sharing a presentation from MaxLawCon 2025. And today's session is from Charley Mann of Red Kraken Creative. And he shares a framework for building a referral engine that can add serious revenue without chasing the latest platform or tactic. In this talk, Charley makes the case that marketing isn't an either or. It's both digital and referral working together. He then lays out a practical 3-part roadmap. You'll hear him break down who to meet first, how to stay consistent without overcomplicating it, and why the goal is to stop relying on random luck and start building a repeatable system for referrals. This is Charley Mann's MaxLawCon session, the $500,000 Referral Playbook.
All right, folks. So the first thing I actually want to talk to you about is a 20th century physicist by the name of Niels Bohr. Does anyone know who Niels Bohr is? That's freaking impressive. I think I saw 3 hands raised. Normally it's a total 0. Well, anyhow, Niels Bohr popularized this concept, or he studied this concept known as a complementarity. And I love the term complementarity because what it's used to describe is when 2 opposing truths are held of equal value, especially in science. And the best example of this is light. You may or may not recall from high school physics or even elementary physics that light is both a particle and a wave. And the interesting thing about light is when you ask light, and this is how they kind of put it in physics, when you ask light a particle question, it answers as a particle. When you ask it a wave question, it answers as a it answers as a wave. So the reason I'm mentioning complementarity here at the beginning is because I'm going to talk about referral marketing, but we have amazing digital marketers in here as well. And to me, the best thing that we can have is both of these truths of equal value. Why not do and? In my opinion, marketing is not a silo. Marketing is multimedia, multi-channel, multi-touch, multimodal. It's an and question, not an or question. Now, what I want to do here is help you build a better referral marketing engine. And while it is a $500,000 referral roadmap, when I set this up with a firm, it was a PI firm that was doing $900,000 per year in revenue. They actually added a little over $600,000 over the next year in new case inventory with this, but $500,000 roadmap sounds just a little bit cleaner than $612,000 roadmap, so we'll stick with this title. But you may have a bigger firm. You can multiply what we're going to talk about. By the way, if your hope is that there's going to be a bunch of slides up here, the good news, bad news is there are no slides. You actually have to pay attention right here to me. I promise I will outline everything for you and tell you exactly what you need to write down to take home and take action. So the next thing I want to tell you about is the 4 stages by how we make money in life. I've been teaching this to my kids as well. I really do consider this a very valuable framework. Please write it down, share it with others. I want to see this out in the world more. So, in life, we make money in 4 ways. The first way you make money in life is you make money based on what you do. When you graduate from law school, Jim was talking about his story. He goes and he's inside of another firm, and he is being paid for his ability to do that runner work, right? He's being paid for what he does. The second way you get paid in life is you get paid for what you know. You develop some knowledge. You develop leverage through your expertise. Now, in some cases, you accidentally also get attached to a massive lawsuit that disrupts your career for a while. Sorry to hear about that, Jim. Can't believe the first time I've heard that story. But you make money through what you know. The next way you make money, and this is where a lot of you are going to step up, you make money based on who you know. And that's going to be our focal point right here, is increasing who you know. It would be really nice if just being incredible practitioners of any of our individual crafts allowed us to make all the money that we want in the world. But the leverage on that is limited. And as AI continues to enter the ecosystem, if you are sticking around being paid for what you do and what you know, you are losing leverage rapidly. So you want to be paid for who you know. The next and final step is you get paid for who you are. So when I think of like people who get paid for who they are, a couple of folks in this room, I think of Jim Hacking, I think of Marco Brown, people who have built a level of sort of celebrity status. Actually, I think that Jason Hennessy would be a good example of it as well. People who have developed an audience and can move systems toward them. They naturally attract talent to the practice. They naturally attract interest to the business. But I can guarantee you that all of those individuals spent time getting to know others before simply wanting to be known. And that's the mistake I see all the time. That's the mistake right there, is so many of us want to be known without first trying to know others. And that's what we want to do. We want to make it easier for you to get to know other people. So those are the 4 ways that we make money in life. Now, here is the actual roadmap. I'll give you the really simple version. It's 3 steps. This is the great news. I keep it really simple. 3 steps, and then we'll talk about how you achieve each one of these 3 steps. So the program for this referral engine is as simple as follows. 1 meetup per week. Ideally with a law firm owner who can send you cases. 1 meetup per week. Let's start there. Really simple, right? Normal networking, socializing, but you want to be targeted with it. So in ascending order, I first want you to meet with law firm owners who have the ability to actually send you cases. I'm a big fan of you doing these types of meetings with people who are in your practice area, by the way. Because within practice areas, there are people who take certain clients and and other types of clients they would rather refer out. There are matters they really want to keep, other matters they would rather refer out. I remember when I was first starting to work with law firms, and I got to know a bunch of PI firm owners. And, you know, the term trial attorney it gets thrown out a lot. And when I finally learned that there were firms that didn't take cases to trial and that there was this whole world of referrals going back and forth, I was like, wow, why aren't people more intentionally tapping into that? And so working with PI firm owners, that's one of the things that we do early on, is find those little slipstreams that already exist. Let's go meet those people and get the cases sent to us. Very, very simple. So 1 meetup per week with a valuable referral source, starting with attorneys, law firm owners ideally, who can send you business, then related professions. So, you know, financial advisors, if you are in estate planning, potentially marital therapists, if you're in family law. There's, you know, we can go through all of the medical providers if you're in PI. There's some low-hanging fruit, and then there's some more difficult ones to go after. You all know who the best referral sources are for you. Deliberately target those people. You've got a team member who can reach out to these folks and put them on your calendar. By the way, keep it simple, keep it coffee, don't do an hour. Set it up for 50 minutes. Set it up for 25 minutes. Be deliberate about the time, because 1, you want to factor in travel time if you're going to meet in person, and 2, it is more likely that the person won't assume that you can extend the time any farther. And I do believe that keeping good company is also keeping good borders and boundaries on your time. So have very precise time domains by which you meet with people. And then you want to meet with community leaders. This could be charitable organizations, civic groups nearby who have very direct access to your ideal client, or just people who have leadership within their various communities and have access to a big group. So that's number 1 for us, okay? We're going to do 1 meetup per week. If I can get you to do 2 meetups per week, oh, baby, this thing's going to really sing. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to send 1 piece of direct mail per month to at least 25 people. 1 piece of direct mail per month to 25 people. I love a print newsletter. Who in here does a print newsletter? Man, if I could convince at least half this room to start doing this, it would make my day. I love a print newsletter. Some people think it's expensive. Who am I supposed to send it to? 1, it's not that expensive. It really isn't. And also, if you're nervous about the cost, focus on sending a print newsletter to the referral sources. If you're anxious, like, well, I was talking with a firm owner last night who has 10,000 people in their database, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to spend $14,000 a month on a print newsletter just yet. I bet you have 500 people in that database who are high-value referral sources, and I want you to show up every single month with a print newsletter. Now, what if you don't have that list just yet? I want you to write a very, very simple letter. A simple letter that is targeting a group of people from whom you can get referrals, and in that letter, you're going to tell them how you want to make their life easier. So for example, in the personal injury space, this is the client who I was talking about earlier, who was at $900,000 per year in revenue, and we had $612,000 technically dollars in new inventory over the following year with this program. He sent his letter to chiropractors and other medical providers, right? Really on-the-nose stuff. And at first, he was actually a little nervous about sending to chiropractors because it felt like, am I going to get garbage cases? Are they going to expect me to refer cases to them? And he's in a major metropolitan area where it felt like, also, people already have these relationships. They're not going to start referring to me. But he sent this letter, and basically he talked to the chiropractors about how he would make life easier. He wasn't going to ask them to reduce their fees before he did. He was going to make sure that they were prioritized throughout the duration of the case. He was also going to make sure that if anyone had appointments with the chiropractor, he'd be doing some in-house medical management and making sure that those clients actually go and show up, which is just good for the case itself, right? So it was a virtuous cycle that he created. So you're going to send a letter out to 25 people each month. If you don't have a print newsletter yet, build that list of 25 people. You can go online, like you can go on Google. Tyson was talking about taking action today. Tonight, go on Google or use ChatGPT, Perplexity, or whatever tool you want to, and ask it to find you 25 people who could potentially be good referral sources and to list their addresses for you. You don't even have to do it anymore. We can just make AI do this whole thing for us, right? Like, this just became easier. This is so much easier. When I first used to tell people about this, back in ye good old days of manually looking it up on Google, I used to say, go get a VA for it. You have this VA that's in all these wonderful devices that we have. Make it do it for you. So you're going to get that list and you're going to send that letter. And then over time, you're going to keep that list and keep building that list. And that list will become your print newsletter list that you're going to send every single month to. And we'll talk like what kind of content you should actually put in the print newsletter, right? Because you don't want to be boring. You want to be of interest to people. The last part of the program, and I've been talking about this for 6+ years now, send a weekly email to your list. Not monthly, not quarterly, send a weekly email. I know some of you are shaking in your boots. You're worried about the unsubscribes. You're worried about someone being unhappy. I would rather deal with the one unhappy person in exchange for the potentially 500, 2,000, 5,000 people who are perfectly happy to receive my email. Do not flinch about unsubscribes. When you are playing to avoid unsubscribes, do you think you're going to have the maximum impact that you can have? It's very easy for us to like post on social media, and you probably, I hope you're not checking your follower count every single day, right? You're not like flinching, oh no, I'm 2 down compared to where I was last week. That doesn't matter to you. You continue to produce content over there, but email, we're really tender about that, aren't we? It feels like if someone presses unsubscribe on our email, like it's a personal affront, like I went and kicked their dog or something. The vibe's really tough and you feel bad and you almost want to like personally email them and be like, why? Why don't you love me anymore? I don't know this gentleman. I looked him dead in the eyes. That was an interesting moment. Thank you for sharing that with me, by the way. So you're going to send an email every single week. Here's the deal about the email. And this also applies to your print newsletter. Make it personality driven. You are not sending an email that's the 5 things you need to know about divorce. You are not sending an email that's the 5 things you need to know about estate planning. You're not sending 5 things you should do after a car accident. That's the reason you're sending a quarterly email, if you're sending one at all. Because you hate your own content, and you know no one wants to read it. Community events. So apparently that was just brutal enough to draw a reaction from right in here. Sometimes it's a little bit harder than it's meant to be, but for real. Community events, pop culture references, stories from inside your firm. I am of the absolute firm belief, and no one will get me off of this, standing on this ground, which is that you all are secret tabloid factories, and I mean that in the best way, genuinely. Do you know how many TV shows, movies, etc. are based around the legal world? you think that what you do is not interesting. You've seen it all. Your files look similar. They all have patterns. For the rest of the world, it's crazy fascinating. The debate that's going back and forth between you and the insurance adjuster, even deposition prep, is fascinating to the average individual. I love it, like even that drew a reaction. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm serious, because I remember when I first came into this world, started working with law firm owners and learning about this stuff, and I would literally stop and be like, tell me more about that, because it's not what I do on a day-to-day basis, and I find it fascinating. I often use my wife as a proxy for this. God bless my patient wife on this one. But I will share with her things that I have learned about law firms to see if she is interested in them. She's a registered nurse, so she's well-educated, hardworking. I remember the first time that I asked her, do you know what a trial lawyer is? And she's like, well, that's a lawyer. Like, oh, we have a brand new category of content right here. Let's explain what a trial lawyer actually is, and who is and who is not one, and who claims to be one but isn't really. So all of this stuff is way more interesting than you think it is. And when you start mining your team for some of these stories, it becomes that much easier. You just have to press send every week. Also within the emails, keep it simple. No multi-story emails. You don't need 42 links in there. You don't need to treat it like a glossy magazine that has columns. Just one simple message. One simple message and a call to action. So like estate planning, just always have some type of discovery call to action in there. You'd be astonished at how easy this can be. I was a firm owner I was talking with last night who's involved in family law. We were talking about content that could go in a family law email, because you don't want to necessarily rub people's nose in it about having gone through a divorce. But what they may be interested in is new life. It's very likely that they are going to go through a personal development phase. Revenge body, right? Share the workout routine, share the books that you're reading, share the things that inspire you, or have it be a guest column from time to time with some of your team members. And then, by the way, as you're writing all this content for your emails, where can we cycle it back to? We can cycle it back to the print newsletter. So that's taken care of for you. Making it very, very easy. None of this needs to be complicated. I know that a lot of you also write content for social media pretty frequently. You can cycle that back into emails. You can cycle that back into print newsletters. Consider social media a wonderful test drive of content that would play well with your audience. Now, it depends on the platform, right? If you're writing on LinkedIn and you're writing towards all the other people in the room, I'm going to use that content in a newsletter that's going to referral sources, professional referral sources, other law firm owners, etc. If it's content that I'm posting maybe over on Facebook, on Instagram, that's the type of content that we can repurpose into a general population newsletter. But we keep all of this as simple as possible. If you are in a firm that has multiple lawyers and you have some who are either interested in or expected to participate in business development, get them connected with doing those meetups. Seriously, like go home and tell them, here's your new responsibility. You need to meet with one person every single week. As your firm grows, by the way, there are these cycles that happen within the practice, right? Where you're more focused on marketing, and then you're working on your systems, and then you're tinkering with your finances, and then you move into talent acquisition, and then leadership of your team. What's really interesting are some of the cycles that you go through for referrals. So like if you have a firm that's under $1 million per year, and you're not investing part of your time into getting more referrals, I think you're just missing out on a massive opportunity. You'll note that I don't say, like, shame on you, or the only path to $1 million is referrals. In the spirit of complementarityism, that's not a word, but it is in this moment, I don't believe in absolutism. That's my one absolute, right? That was the joke that just didn't land in this moment. That's okay. That one's just flying over heads. It's all right. I know that right now the hunger pains are right there. You're looking forward to lunch. But I really don't believe in absolutism. I think one of the most dangerous things that you can do is think that there is only ever one solution to any given problem. There are always multiple ways, because I guarantee you, we sit down in this room, and I'm sure for those of you who participate in the mastermind, et cetera, you're in those rooms and you see different ways from Tyson, from Jim, from the other people in the room to solve these problems. So that's why I don't like to go into absolutism. It's the right time for different things. Now, getting back to the referrals, the reason I say that is if you're under $1 million, I have seen this be massive leverage. But then I also know, having worked with law firm owners for a long time, what it's like to have a firm that's between, say, $1.5 and $3 million, and you feel like you're buried in systems and talent acquisition, and you don't have time for the meetups the same way that you used to. That just means we need to find the time, because we can't lose that momentum. Because I promise you, your name is getting more and more valuable as your firm grows, and what ends up happening is it doesn't just become about who you go out and seek to know. Over time, what happens is the invitation carries extra weight because it comes from you. Because you've gone around through the whole community. You've met the other lawyers, and your name starts getting traded around. Which means the next person who receives the invite goes, oh, that's cool. I've heard about others going to meeting with this attorney, now it's my turn. And that's how you move in the direction of being paid for who you are. Just don't skip ahead on the journey. Don't want to be at the destination only. Because if you don't want to take the steps to get there, look, the path to success is littered with all the people who thought, I just want to be there. And then you say, well, take the next step. And they go, yeah, but I don't want to. I'm a little tired right now. I'm going to sit down where I am. You're going to be the person who takes the next step. You're going to think to yourself, oh, shoot, I was supposed to send my weekly email on Thursday. It's Friday. Oh, well, I'll send it Friday and get back on track next week. Instead of being the person who goes, I was supposed to send it on Thursday, it's Friday, I think I'll send one in about another 17 weeks. And that's the most common thing that happens. Or you're going to have that print newsletter schedule a little bit backed up. Or you're going to say, I missed a meetup this week. That's okay, I'm going to double down next week. If you need to modify it in the spirit of not being absolutist, if you need to have like a slight modification here, do 4 meetups a month. Change the statistic in your head. Change the number. Change the framework that you're using, and just focus on that. The most important thing that you do is obviously go home and take action. This is a fantastic idea. It works for my clients. It will work for you, depending on the elbow grease you put into it. And now, I think it's time that we're going to go to lunch, but I will let the team take it over from here. Thank you all very much for your time this morning.
Before you go, quick shout out to Becca's List. If you've ever hired a vendor for your law firm and immediately thought, yeah, that wasn't it, this exists for you. Becca's List is a curated list of companies that work with law firm owners. No paid placements, no random recommendations, just real reviews from law firm owners who have already learned the hard way. If you want to see what's working for other firms and help us grow Becca's List to the largest place for law firms to find trusted answers, head to beccaslist.co and leave your first review today.